You're watching Watts Average Joe, where I've got one shell loaded, two regrets equipped, and I'm not even sure what map this is. Well, hello tankers, and welcome back to the channel. It's your average Joe, coming back at you with another video. Alright, so, have you ever finished a match and go, what the heck just happened? Well, your team vanished, your enemy capped, and you somehow survived with full HP and zero impact. Now sure, maybe RNG kicked you in the shins. Maybe your team did drown itself in the ocean. But if you're anything like me, an average player with an average instinct and above average regrets, there's probably something else going on. Today, we're looking at the real reasons you're losing games. And spoiler, it's not just matchmaking. Let's break down the little things we do that cost us the big wins, and how to fix them without going full tryhard. Okay, so you lived the whole match. Congrats. But you did 400 damage, you spotted no one, and you never left your bush. Technically impressive. Tactically, meh. Let me give you an example, okay? You held the 2 line on El Haloof and no one came. Ever. Here's your fix, people. Look at your mini-map. If there's no enemies that show up in the first 2 minutes, consider moving. You gotta be aggressive without YOLOing, okay? Surprise! Alright, here's your Joe tip. If you haven't fired a shot or spotted anyone at the halfway mark, you're not playing safe. You're playing hide and seek with no seekers. Okay, so you pushed alone. Again. You saw an opportunity and you pushed a flank. You got wrecked in under 20 seconds though, and here's why it happened. You assumed your team was with you. Big mistake. You believed in pink support. Bigger mistake. And you got bored. I know. I get it. I get it. It happens to me all the time. Alright, here's your fix, people. Wait to see movement on the map before committing. Don't push past the halfway line unless you're confident in your tank and your escape routes. Count allies, not pings, people. Here's your Joe tip. If you're ahead of the mini-map and you're not flanking, you're donating hit points. Here's why it hurts, people. You removed yourself from a key position. You traded your tank for one that wasn't even a threat anymore. And now your team's down a gun and hope. Here's your fix, and let's do it. Ask this question. If I do this, what happens next? Is this kill actually helping my team? Or is it just feeding my ego? Here's your Joe tip. Not every low HP enemy is a priority. Sometimes they're just bait, and sometimes they're me. Okay, so you're fighting the wrong fight. You're shooting an E75 in the upper hull because it's hull down in your T44. Okay? Why this is bad? You're wasting shells, time, and your position. You get tunnel vision, and you miss the softer targets. You become that guy screaming, "Why won't it pin?" Know when to rotate, relocate, or disengage. Disappear if you've got to. Use this precious premium ammo only when it matters. Pick fights where your gun's actually going to have a chance. Here's your Joe tip. If you've bounced 3 shots in a row, the tank's not the problem, it's your target. Now let's talk about your loadout, okay? You're running food, full premium, large kits, and you're down 40k per match wondering why you're broke. Here's your mistakes. Not balancing your shell loadout. Forgetting that your crew isn't properly trained. And you're using food and tanks, you're gonna lose more than you win. Alright, here's your fix. Build smarter. Ammo splits work for most situations. Use credit boosters. Train one good crew, not 10 random ones with 0 skills. And here's your Joe tip. You're not broke because your tank's bad. You're broke because you're playing it like you're sponsored by Wargaming. Well, look, we've all done this stuff. I still do. I still push too early. Fire gold on light tanks because I forgot I switched out He-Chi 2 games ago. Alright, here's your fix, people. Look at your tank strengths, okay? Are you fast, tanky, sneaky, or none of the above, okay? Watch where the early fight is forming and move toward impact, not comfort. Don't be afraid to reposition. Just because you spawned west doesn't mean you have to die there. Okay, here's your Joe tip. Bad positioning means bad options, and bad options lead to bad replays you rewatched at 2 a.m. wondering why you didn't just move. Okay, so you panicked. You had the upper hand in a 1v1. You were hauled down, fully aimed, and then something happened. What happened? You fired HE at an IS-3's turret. You forgot you were on reload. You backed into a wall and took a shot and exploded. You pressed 5 trying to use the medkit and somehow toggled off your minimap. Why it matters, people. Panicking in the key moments in those games. You lose fights you could have won, not because of skill, but because your brain unplugged for 3 seconds. Here's the fix. Slow down. Just a little, okay? Aim before firing, double check your ammo types, and get comfortable in those clutch moments, even if it's just breathing and lining up the shot. Here's your Joe tip. It's not that I don't know what I'm doing, it's just that I forgot what I was doing in that moment when it mattered. Okay, so like I said, your Joe tip here is slow down. Breathe before aiming. Take those moments to double check your ammo and you'll be good. Okay, so you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, right? You're in a fast medium on an open map, and somehow you end up behind a rock with 3 heavies. Or worse, you're in a slow heavy and your team's already flanking without you. Again. Alright, so what's going wrong? You're going to familiar spots without thinking if your tank belongs there. You're following teammates instead of playing your own role. And you're too late rotating to help where the fight actually matters. Okay, so what happens next? You don't get shots, you don't take ground, and you become the guy yelling, "Where's my team?" while parked 100 meters from the action. That's right, people. Okay, so yeah, these aren't huge game-breaking or unfixable mistakes. These are little average misfires that we make every day, people. It's the quiet errors that stack up and tilt the match just enough to lose it. And honestly, I don't think we need to play perfect. I just think we need to play a little smarter than we did yesterday. Because even the smallest improvements, people, could turn a heartbreak loss into a scrappy win. And if nothing else, fixing 1 or 2 of these habits might keep you from being that person in post-game stats who still has full HP but only did 200 damage. And not to mention the 2 angry platoon mates yelling at him. So here's your mission, people, if you choose to accept it. Alright, stop chasing Artie like a gremlin. Look at the mini-map like it owes you money. And maybe, just maybe, don't push that flank alone. Okay, people, let me know in the comments what your most average mistake is, and I'll reply with support, sarcasm, or both. Like if you've ever watched yourself explode and thought, yeah, that checks out. Subscribe if you want more guides that don't talk down to you, just sideways, with love. Stay average, stay dangerous, and we'll see you on the battlefield. Take care.